And welcome to another edition of the California Guy video with your boy California Guy. What's up, everybody? And welcome to this video. This video is kind of a long. It's gonna be like a short video. I was listening last night to Pro Black Chris's show, and I was listening to Big JX. Um, and Big JX was debating a YouTuber. I don't know the YouTuber, by the way, that he was debating. I never listened to his video, so I don't know who the guy was, but Big J pointed out to the guy about being pro-black, and I'm just gonna say this. This is just a critical analysis of what Big J X was saying, and this is not no just regular debate on this. This is a regular debate with Big J. He points out that the guy is pro-black, but then he goes after other black men, but he doesn't go after white people. Now, let me break this whole argument down because I've been told the same thing. There's no diss to Big J, by the way. It's just me making an opinion about this statement. When you're pro-black, being pro-black doesn't mean per se, or if you're a coon. Let's just say you're a coon. Let's talk about coon pro-blacks and middle blacks and ideology. Now, I can start with politics real quick. In politics, you got Democrats, Republicans, liberal, libertarian, conservatives, different host of ideologies. You have hundreds of Democrats out there, liberals. You have hundreds of Republican conservatives. But not all conservatives are friends with each other. Not all conservatives agree with the ideologies that each other goes for. For example, a right winger may be more like Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a conservative commentator, but he is different than maybe a Sean Hannity commentator. You have maybe a Tom Hartman liberal commentator is different than Cinca from Young Turks. So you have they both are liberals. Yes, they both vote for the same party, but they have kind of different agendas. Well, the same thing goes for being pro-black, and even maybe even if you're a coon or Uncle Tom, any category, or middle black. Just because you're African American, number one, doesn't mean that you're pro-black. That's fact. Just because you're African American does not mean that a pro-black is supposed to lay off of you because you have killers. For example, let me give an example real quick. You have African American murderers and killers that's in prison. A lot of them have been gang members. A lot of them have been in drug lords, and in some cases black serial killers, black rapists. But because they're black, does not mean that a pro-black is going to support a rapist or a killer. These are facts. Being pro-black doesn't mean you support everything. And the rapist may be pro-black, so you may have a rapist. That's an ideology. So you may agree maybe about systematic racism, but you don't agree with him about his other personal life. You have some pro-blacks that are drug dealers. Even you have some pro-blacks that are drug dealers, and that doesn't mean. And some you have coon drug dealers. You have libertarian drug dealers. So you have different forms of ideology, but because they're black does not mean that you're supposed to support it. You're not supposed to say, well, they're black, and because people call out pro-blacks because they may trash that they may trash other black people sometimes. And when you're pro-black, that does not mean that, the pro-black with his ideology per se gets along with the other pro-black with his ideology or another African American. Yes, you're for the black race because again, being pro-black is maybe is respecting the culture. That's being pro-black or just being black in general. You don't have to be pro-black, but just being a regular African American. Being African American meaning that you respect the culture. That's it. That's where it stops there. You're my brother, yes, but because you're my brother and we got the African descent and the background, does not mean we have the same viewpoint. Does not mean I don't expect that brother to react the way maybe we supposed to act. We supposed to have unity, but black people we haven't had unity in over 35 40 years. So you're pro-black. You should, and I agree with Big J on this. We should go after white racists. I think that that's something we should do, but that does not happen because you got other black people that tend usually go after you. So in the black race, you don't necessarily go. It's kind of a funny thing because I've heard that for years that we should go after white racists, and I agree with him on that. I think we should go after white racists. We should go after black people also too that does not get along with other blacks or they keep blacks from advancing. So that's my whole opinion about that argument I heard on the show last night. It's not a bad argument, but it's sort of flawed a little bit. Um, because I get called out for being pro-black. I've been called out for not addressing other black men or other black women because they're doing certain things to other blacks. And so they say, well, you're pro-black. Why didn't you call this out? You're supposed to be pro-black. But being pro-black is not to police other black people. That's the thing that I try to explain to a lot of people on social media, on like whether it's Facebook, because it's been told to me on Facebook, it's been told to me on Black Planet, Lincoln, and other black social media sites. Even in my real life, at work, we've had discussions. I've had discussions with other black people. They said, "Well, Cali guy, you got these other blacks. You got black people that are drug dealers. You got black people who don't care about the communities. You got this, that, and the other." And I tell them all the time because I'm a black activist and I'm speak on the liberating black people does not mean that people like myself or Dr. Umar or even hell, even uh, L.A. and who else I could think of, Tariq, or who else I could think of out there that's black that does YouTube. There's a host of other blacks that does YouTube or TRS maybe or any other black kind of pro-black type platform. Hell, even myself. It's not our jobs to be the policemen of the black community. It's not a pro-black. Just because you're pro-black, don't mean that you're gonna police the. Because you get told by different black people that, well, why don't you focus in on black people that do these bad things? I've always heard that you need to focus in on yourself, and it's not a black person's job, a pro-black job, to police black people. Black people, when we came to this country, the whole purpose of ending slavery and ending Jim Crow was for black people to have individual freedoms. Now, if a black person wants to be a pro-black, hey, that's on them. If a black person wants to love African culture, that's on them. If they choose to be more assimilated, that's on them too. Because at the end of the day, they got their own right. They just have a right. Now, if they put themselves out there with an opinion, and their opinion is, okay, black people, or you start cooning out on a public platform, then that's open for debate. Just like being pro-black is even open for debate. So all these different things because I call it policing black people. I've heard different black YouTubers say what pro-blacks need to do. Pro-blacks are not police officers. They're not the black people police, and that's what I consistently hear on especially black YouTube, because I've heard it in a lot of arguments. Well, you go after this black man, even if they're coon, they're telling you that you're supposed to protect this black man or black woman, even if there's a coon. If you're not getting along with if you're not getting along with a African American person, whether he's pro black or just regular, then you're called out for just that. But again, uh, I ask this to any African American that's around: would you protect a black rapist if he rapes little girls? Because he's black, you protect him. Would you protect a black drug dealer? But he's black, and say he may listen to Umar Johnson. He may listen to Cali Guy. He may listen to Tariq Nasheed. He may listen to the one named L.A. But say that, or would you guys want people to protect that black drug dealer? He may have certain views, but that doesn't mean he's a good person. See what I'm saying? So do we supposed to police that person? So it makes no sense when I hear A lot of black people say this on in black YouTube, and then they say, well, you should go after all these Caucasians. You got, white racists. White racists been existing before, slavery even exists. So, Big J, he could debate me on this topic. He could make comments or make a response video because I would like to hear his response. I would love to hear his response. Maybe I could go, maybe do a show and I could talk to him about this. But you know, it's a good argument, by the way. It's a very good argument because I've heard black people say this. If you're pro-black, you should talk about this. If you're pro-black, you should do that. I think that being pro-black is not policing black people, but it should be really embracing African culture. That's what I believe. Embracing really African culture and having discussions on African American culture. Um, same for cooning out. Even if a black is a coon, by the way. If you have a coon, you have a serial killer coon. Does coons defend that serial killer coon? No, he can't speak for all coons. So just because you have black skin does not mean that black person is your brother. And that's what black people, I think, get confused. Is that, and Dr. Boyce Walker's pointed this out in the video. Just because somebody shares the same skin color as you does not per se mean that you guys have you're black and you have the ethnicity, but you guys don't share the same common goals. Some black people do, others don't. You have, again, I hate to use other races as an example, but you have Italians. Not all Italians share the same damn goals. You have Hispanic people. They all don't share the same damn goals. Majority of them want immigration to be legal here. Others don't. There's some Mexicans, hell, that like Donald Trump. So, it's funny when I hear African American people have this thing on putting down other black people, and you should be a brother, and not every black man is your brother. And so it doesn't, and pro blacks should not be called upon to be this moral black police, of the black YouTube or black social media, because I've heard that argument many times. And they're always telling different black YouTubers that claim that's pro black, that there should be these police officers in black youth, even in the community. They'd be like, what are you doing in your neighborhood? What are you doing on this? Because you're using a platform for opinionated topics. When you get on black YouTube or black radio, or you write blogs, it's for the purpose of what's the purpose of it? The purpose, because I forget my thought. The purpose of doing black YouTube or black opinionated stuff is to get your opinion out. It's opinion out. I'm sorry, not per se to police your community. You can't police every black person. Black people got minds of their own. So, like and share this video, and Big J, make some comments on this. Let's have this discussion. Peace out.